Hey everybody, and welcome to Northernlion tries Hardspace Shipbreaker. Now I want to say right at the start of this to avoid confusion. I was sponsored to play this. This is not a sponsored video. I know it's a confusing thing. It's like a jump to conclusions, man. I was sponsored to play this on Twitch. I streamed 2 hours on Twitch. I had a good time. I decided it's a noteworthy release that came out recently. I'm also going to do a Northernlion tries where we show off the game a little bit, but this is not a sponsored video. There will be a sponsored VOD later of the earlier. Let me get out the whiteboard to explain it. Okay, you get the idea. What is Hardspace Shipbreaker? It is a unique game, a game that I have never experienced before. The way that I would describe it is that it is a like a simulator, like a house flipper, something like that, but it takes place 200 years in the future, and you are an extraterrestrial or astronomical salvager. So ships come in that are derelict, like enormous spaceships. You, using your tools and your talents, break them down, sort the parts, and then you get money, and you use that money to pay off your prodigious debt, which you might be able to see if I just move myself. I think I'm okay down here, maybe. So we got a $998 million debt. It started at $1 billion, so we're not making a whole lot of progress. Not at all. Wait a minute. No, that's right. Okay. So we're just going to start our shift today. There's no ship in the bay, so we get to choose what kind of ship we want to break down. Let's start with something easy, because we might only have time to do one full ship. The thing is, every ship is a little bit different, but they are part of the same class. You know, Mackerel is the one that we got here. You can see also their total value, their total worth. So this one is actually worth the most at 4,079,899 credits. It's got it's got one reactor, a power cell, and a thruster class 1, I should say, which are very useful, very expensive. So let's try to break this one down, shall we? I'm ready. I will warn you, by the way, there are flashing lights, there are bright lights, and there are occasionally explosions. And also, we're going to be moving around in 0G, so you might find yourself with the 6 degrees of freedom here getting a little bit motion sick. So there is a story that happens simultaneously while we do this, but essentially this is a... it's kind of just an occupational simulator, you know? Like, our job is to break these ships down safely, collect as much money as we can, as possible out of them, and then, you know, rinse and repeat, basically, but in the best way possible. So right now, we're just kind of flying around in our suit. We have fuel and health, as well as oxygen level, which is already about maybe 10% down. But the thing is pressurized in here. So the first step, usually, for most of these ships, at least so far, because the ships are hazardous. Like, you can explode. You can electrocute yourself to death. You got to be a little bit careful. So the airlock is going to let us in. And then once the airlock lets us in, we will make sure that we're getting pressurized in here again. And then, once we get in here, we can see some stuff that they got going on. Like, are these O2 tanks? What are you? You're Nova fuel, which is thruster fuel for us. But first, we got to turn off this... or turn on this atmospheric regulator. Okay. Now, the whole reason we did all of that was to avoid depressurization, like a one single depressurization event that would obviously cause some considerable problems for us. If you'll excuse me, can I collect this data drive? Thank you. All right. So, usually, I've got a method, and one of the things that's really interesting about this game is that, like, when I first played, obviously, I've never played anything like this before in my life. I had no idea what I was doing.
Airlock pressure levels dropping.
That's okay, just let me out. I had no idea what I was doing, but after breaking down several of these ships, I now understand what I want to do most of the time. I have like a method to my madness. So by hitting T, I can get my scanner out here, and anything yellow essentially represents cut points. We can use our cutting tool to cut here and separate things quite easily from the ship. So basically, we're just going to cut this up, like so. And then by doing that, we have freed this engine. And then we're going to take this grappling hook. and just kind of drag it down here with the left mouse button. I don't know why I'm treating this like a tutorial, but we can hit the F key to kind of shoot it in there. And you're basically, you now know what's up. You have the basics of what's going on in Hardspace Shipbreaker. You try to sort the loot out. Some of it goes to the barge, which is salvage, which is money. That's where the most valuable stuff goes most of the time. Some of it goes to the furnace, which you can see there, and some of it goes to the processing unit. So usually, like, valuable materials go here, and metals go here. So before we get any further here, let's just make sure we're cutting off all these engines. We do have some constraints. So it's not just exclusively a, like, chill-out game, although it is surprisingly chill-outable. Send it. Thank you. You do have to worry about your oxygen. You may have to worry about your HP as well. But for now, everything's okay. Now, one thing that you might concern yourself with is NL. Historically, you've kind of had motion sickness. Why is it that when you play a first-person shooter that runs at 20 FPS, you get motion sick, but when you play this, you don't get motion sick? I honestly, I mean, I'm not a doctor of the inner ear. I can't tell you that. I'm not an equilibriologist. But generally speaking, stuff with like 6 degrees of freedom like this has never really bothered me that much, as long as I'm in control of it and it runs smoothly. And I honestly think there's something about the game, like the fact that it looks so nice and controls, and again, it's gonna sound like I'm shilling, basically, but it looks so nice and controls so well, and you know, I'm not gonna tell you that it is gonna run well for you. I am running this on a machine with a, you know, a 2080 Ti and, you know, a brand new 12-core processor. I can't even remember how many cores it's got. I'm not flexing. I'm just saying, like, I don't know, if you're trying to run this on a Chromebook, you might run into frame rate issues, but that has not been the case for me so far. So for whatever reason, this game does not trigger my motion sickness, and I'm very happy about it. Okay, so step 1, pretty much complete. We're going to get all of our engines here. Then, because we live in, or we're operating within like a near future corporate dystopia here, we're going to move forward back to our base, and from this base we're going to buy some more oxygen so that we don't asphyxiate while we're in the middle of the mission here. So you do want to balance, you know, all of those resources while you're playing. You don't want to buy the O2 too early because it cuts into your profits, but there you go. Give me one of those. We're good to go. It only costs 8,000, which is relatively cheap, but it's an operational expense. All right, so you know, it's kind of like learning how to debone a chicken. We've completed step 1. Now, usually for me, step 2 is grab the antennas, because the antennas are worth a lot of money as well. And it's really interesting how you know, you learn patterns basically for how to do this stuff more efficiently as time goes on. It really does give you that sense of like accomplishment, almost as if you had learned like how to do a real job instead of just play a video game. Okay, so I did get some momentum going on the ship here, but that's okay. So those antennas got processed. All right, so usually the next step, and you got to be a little bit careful about this one, we want to get the reactor out of this thing, because the reactor is very expensive, very valuable, I should say. And usually it's back here. Yeah, so you can turn on your scanner to see that, obviously. But one thing I would like to do is open up an area, whoops, on the, open up basically like a wide panel that we can use to drag stuff out of the ship. So I tend to use this upgrade for my cutter. All this equipment, by the way, is upgradable as time goes on. Oh, did I accidentally use a tether there? I did. Don't worry about that too much, but is upgradable as time goes on. Like, as you complete tasks, I think it's related to these work orders that you can see up there, but as you complete tasks, you get upgrade points that you can use for things like, you know, making more tethers. Now, you don't need to know what a tether is just yet. Don't sweat it too much. We have released this panel. Now, if I could just pull this back and then shoot it up there. Just get out of my face, please. Okay. I thought, okay, there we go. There you go. We're good. I want to open up, this is like the outside hull. But we can't cut directly through the outside hull. It's too strong for our current equipment. So instead, we got to use our scanner and cut all the support beams. And this is where the real money is. Like, yeah, getting the, like, precious cargo is worth a decent amount. But we... Oh, we almost overheated our equipment there. But we can make that happen after we do this part. For now, like, there's a lot of useful metal and stuff in this that is important for us. So it really is... it's a unique game. And I think if you get it, you just get it. Like, when I was streaming it, I'll admit there were some people who were like, I don't understand this at all. There were a lot of people that were like, yo, this is like... It's not like I knew that this is what I wanted, but now that I'm watching it, it appeals to me. There is something about it. It really is almost like Landlord Super, but way less janky. I love Landlord Super, don't get me wrong. But the jank is apparent, right? I don't know if we've done enough to separate this yet. It's possible we have. Let's hit the outside for a second. Let me reorient myself here. Yeah, we want to come through this way. We might need to buy more oxygen too. But it's really like the thrill of the mundane, you know? I'm having a great time just doing my job out here and trying to do it a little bit better on the next day. Okay, so we're gonna get our grappler and we're gonna try to use a piece of technology called a tether, which basically just allows us to pull heavy things that I can't lift with my level 1 grapple. And then this is going to pull it into that processing unit. And we're going to get some money as a result of that at the end of the day today. And it's also going to complete, or at least work towards some of our work orders. Alright. So now we have access. And you know what? I'm realizing now, I would also like it if you could pull this one. I don't know if that one's... Oh, it is on secure. Okay, good stuff. Alright, alright. So now the real fun begins. Trying to get out some of the more valuable parts. Let's go get some oxygen before we do this, actually. Trying to pull out the most valuable parts without damaging them or getting ourselves killed in the process. You know, this is... it's relevant. So, we'll go back and get some oxygen. By the way, you can, as you might expect, upgrade your... if you'll excuse me, there's only 5 minutes left in our workday today. Which the time limit is a divisive issue, I will admit. Some people are into it, some people aren't, but there is a free play mode if you're not interested in that. I kind of like, you know, I mean, you know I like mechanics, so I like the fact that this is, you know, you don't just have unlimited time. I like to be in a rush, I guess, for whatever reason. But 5 minutes, now that we've done some of the heavy lifting here, is actually... is not that unreasonable that we can get some useful loot out of here. But yeah, you can upgrade your oxygen tank and stuff like that. I mean, one of the things you could do right off the bat, just to make sure you're, like, you know, good to go here, is you can pull off these panels. You know these are going to make you money, so we might as well send them. But then here, we do have a fuel tank, which goes to the barge. So we're just going to pull this back. We got a thumbs up because we completed an objective. That's going to land. It might not have landed, but now it did. Alright, but the big money, for sure, and the big upgrade points, which is that LT right there, is this reactor. So the problem with the reactor is that as soon as you pull it out, it starts to melt down. You really only have, like, maybe 30 seconds to get it where you want it to go. And there's ways of working around that, but it's tricky. Is tricky. So you want to get it out here. It's like surgery. You also don't want to get too close to it. I destroyed a panel, but that's okay. If you get too close to it, it'll electrocute you and do some real damage that needs to be repaired. So there we go. We managed to get the reactor, and we still got 3 minutes left. So what would I say is next? Well, you should probably focus on doing your mission objectives. But I don't know. We'll see. Some of this stuff is more convenient. Like this coolant tank, for example, is right here. I have to imagine it's... Ooh, careful. It's probably worth some a decent chunk of change here, so just shoot that down into the barge. What do they want? They want metal and power cells. So metal is like... well, honestly, if you'll work with me here for a second, I think that this might be ready to come off already. Which is good stuff. And then all of this is metal, like titanium. But you can also cut up this aluminum in here Put it in there. How much do we need? 500 kilograms. I don't know where the power cell is. It might be what's highlighted. But I will also tell you with authority, we can easily get 500 kilograms of metal in 2 minutes. So let's focus on that objective for now, because it's a little bit easier for me. So we're not going to be too precious about our cuts here, which is definitely going to bother some people. I've seen in the comments, the cuts aren't even, the crusts don't line up. I don't know if that's 500 kilograms of aluminum, but it's not zero, that's for sure. You know, what if you knocked in the other salvage at the same time? I think we drastically screwed this up. Please. So again, like the less valuable parts, for the most part, less valuable parts tend to go into the furnace. Hold on, I collided with something, I think, and should consider myself lucky to be alive. All right, with that took us about 30 seconds. We did get 212 kilos of scrap. I would say try to get this one cut a little closer to the top, and we should be good to go. So I think this is really one of those games where you either get it or you don't, and that's okay, you know? There's nothing I could say that would, you know, I think pitch you on this if you're not interested in what you've seen at all. But, you know, I've been doing this business for a long time. I know there's a... Are you not coming loose? Hold on. These tethers they're not free. If you could get out here, please. With only a minute remaining, I'd like to expedite our process here, you know what I mean? You either like it or you don't, is what I'm trying to say, and if you're not into it, that's also completely fine. I think we should try to get this hard crate now that I think about it. This goes straight to the barge and is probably worth a lot of money. Oh, we're so close to the aluminum though, dude. Are you aluminum? You are aluminum. Please get out of here. I bet I can't fit you. You know what? We're going to have to slice you real quick. If I slice you in half, I might be able to fit you. Come on. A lot of people are exhilarated by these games that, you know, you may have looked at it... whoops, that's the wrong area. Come on, come on. Come on. Stay on target. We didn't quite make it. We didn't quite make it. But that's okay. We got $1.216 million out of that ship. That's pretty good. I would say, you understand it or you don't. And if my job is not really to sell you on it, at least in this. My job is more to be like, hey, there's a very cool game that you might not have heard of that you might be very, very interested in. So there is a little bit of maintenance after things happen as well. Like, we can upgrade our O2 capacity by like 20%. Then obviously, like, as we get further along, this will be helpful as well, or we get more options as well, I should say. Suit integrity, audio resynth, resynthesize audio from nearby hazards in unpressurized areas. You can also, I mean, the big money for sure is like you can upgrade your grapple and you can upgrade your cutter. In particular, making your grapple stronger is probably advantageous right now. What about thrusters? I'm assuming we can go a little faster, maybe. Top speed goes up by 4 meters per second. Fuel capacity goes up. For now, believe it or not, I think I'm going to go like O2 capacity. Just because I find it annoying to have to go back to O2 or for O2 so often. And having to do so slightly less would be very nice. But we'll start another shift here. We could continue our salvage of the current ship, but I don't think there's any penalty for getting a new ship here. Maybe there's one that's a little bit easier, like one with a lower total value. This one might be good. So yeah, it's really just, I think this is the kind of game you could lose an awful lot of time into if you're a fan of that, like, again, the mundane interest. It's strange to say, but it's, you know, doing somebody else's job with a little bit of sauce on it. In this case, the sauce is that we're in outer space. It's very fun. I'm having a great time. Is there an airlock on this thing? There is an airlock on this thing. Where is it? There's something very like hard sci-fi about it too. Like, it feels very much like you're playing... Well, not really playing a game based on the Expanse, but like you're living in the world of the Expanse. It's cool. So step one, like always for me...
Pressure levels dropping.
I've never died in the game, but apparently you can die. I have had a nuclear reactor explode on me, but luckily I just threw it towards Earth when it was about to blow up, so it wasn't a big deal. Alright. So we are free to go. And you know, I mean, again, at this point, you can pretty much turn off the video, you know? This ship is going to be a lot like the last one. There are other ships, and, you know, you do get... stronger, or you get better equipment as time goes on. You get access to more and more complex ships that are, you know what, let's use some tethers to speed this up, that are more exhaustive in terms of, like, you know, the amount of cutting and looting you have to do, and the hazards that are present get a little bit more advanced as well.
Salvage secured. Credits
But for now, I'm having a great time just cutting up these mackerel ships here. And I can't stress enough, I think this is something that a lot of people are going to love. Like, are you like me? Does this describe you? I liked the Outer Wilds. You know, the game where you're solving some galactic mysteries in a first-person world. But I was like, I just wish there was a little bit less atmosphere and a little bit more mechanics. I'm weird like that, but a lot of people are weird like that with me. This is a much more mechanics-driven experience that is, to be quite frank, really, really, really well integrated. Like, look at how accessible it was to just right-click these two things together. I feel like in most other games that do this similar sort of thing, you would be like, you need a PhD in order to do that. So it's almost like it makes engineering accessible for an idiot like me. And I can't respect that enough. Alright, so we've actually made amazing progress here already. And it looks gorgeous. Sometimes I do still struggle with the movement, but honestly, you just kind of get used to it, right? Plus, we're all going to be living like this in like 10 years anyway, if Elon gets his way. Alright, so the next step for me... You can loot things from here, oftentimes, like O2 tanks, for example. Let's see what we got here. We got O2, so that'll take us up to full O2. We don't need that yet. We also do not need fuel. This is a very valuable part of the ship. We got lots of amazing stuff. We got 2 reactors on this thing. Okay. Ideally, I think we'd like to cut our hole this time, like, straight through the floor. So let's get out our... Oh, we already had our spot cutter out. We're going to try to chop up... In fact, I think this might even be overkill. Because we can just literally... Oh no, maybe we can't literally slice through the floor. Hold on, I don't like being upside down like this, but you gotta do what you gotta do, right? You gotta do what you gotta do. Okay, I don't know about that one. We did seem to cut a fairly wide swath through the ship. Would prefer to not damage everything here if possible. You still connected? You are still connected. Could you please get out of my way? That's okay. I don't think we damaged it. One more right here. I think it worked. Look, you're gonna have to forgive them the fact that I'm able to do this, okay? Just chill out a little bit. Alright, so we should, I was just gonna say, we should be falling out of the ship as we speak. Which is excellent news, because it means that it's actually going to be very easy for us to pull stuff out of this, like the reactor, for example. So let's start cleaning up here. What are you? You are a nano carbon panel. Nano carbon panels go to processor. Okay, this is going to be a big payday. So let's just make sure we got this under control. We're basically going to... In fact, I don't even think we need to take this at all. I think we just need to draw a tether from the reactor down to the barge, and it'll take it out. Just get out of its way. That's a little dangerous, but look at that. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished, brother. Let's go back for O2 while we wait. That was much longer. Well, it was a decently longer amount of time to not run out of oxygen. To be fair, we do have O2 in the ship that we're salvaging. We could use that. We can save that for our second refuel and maybe go a little bit longer. So yeah, that seems to be the basic gameplay loop. You know, you learn to loot a ship. You get a little bit better at it. That allows you to accomplish more of these work orders here, which we did do one. It just disappeared. The reactor one, because we completed it. But then, you use those upgrades to make yourself better at looting the ship, which allows you to make money faster, and then you can get even more upgrades that allow you to cut through more powerful stuff and go on bigger ships and stuff like that. It's a really, really, ingeniously designed game. Whether or not you care about the execution really is, or care for the execution is really a matter of personal preference, but it's like a genius design. Now, personally, I do care for the, Ooh, I don't know if it's going. I think that's still connected. Yeah. Oh, no. It's gonna go, dude. That's majestic. So I really highly recommend this. I've noticed even just now we're getting a lot better at what we're doing here. Okay. So the next step for me is, let's take some of these soft crates. Yo, we just completed an objective. And the soft crates go right down here. Those are worth quite a lot. You want nanocarbon? Nanocarbon we're doing very well on as well, actually. And we need the power cell. I will admit, I don't know if I've ever gotten a power cell. That's gonna land it. Really, like, if I could describe this game as easily as possible, the word I would use is cool. Like, it just feels cool to do this.
Salvage secured. Account
Okay,
credit applied.
give me this. We do have a limited number of tethers, by the way. That's why, like, for unheavy stuff, I wonder if they... Has English invented a word for things that are not heavy yet?
Credits transferred.
That's a joke. The word is light. But I digress. For light stuff, we're just using our own elbow grease here, because tethers are not expensive, but you don't want to overpay for them. Okay, now power cell. That's the... You're an atmospheric regulator. Cabin, reactors, compartments. You're not a power cell. I think that's a fuel pump. I'll admit I'm getting a little bit turned around up here. Are you a power cell? You're a medical kit. That's like not even close. You're a power junction box. Door console. Is that the power cell behind you then? Or like inside of you? Okay, hear me out here. Don't blow me up. You ever think about that one? I'm just gonna slice you. Cause I'll admit, I don't know what you got going on inside there. What are you? Nanocarbon to be processed? Oh, you're the coolant tank again. Well, I mean, while we're here, we still got 5 minutes left. Although we have not sliced through this part of the ship yet, so actually that's a little tougher to get. Alright. I will admit, I have no idea where the power box is. Or power cell. Could it be in here? But I expect, oh, this is the airlock. I expect you learn things as time goes on that make it a little bit easier to understand. You know, you learn the way the ships work, and as a result of that, you know how to handle things in the future. Okay, so I think forget the power box for now. Let's go back into this bad boy, which we've already carved up pretty nicely, and let's slice off some nanocarbon. And as a result of slicing the nanocarbon, we will get one more objective complete. I'm not a full objective guy yet. I think that's abundantly clear. You know, we got a lot to learn. But I'm still having a very good time playing this. You're nanocarbon. Just get it moving a little bit. And you know what? This thing's a little heavier. This is what tethers are for. Any other nanocarbon free? You're nanocarbon.
Caution. Tether supply.
Hey, my mom said stop calling me nanocarbon or you can't come over anymore. You know what? What mom don't know won't hurt her. So now we're going to go pick up the O2, which we have just been saving. Felt my stomach go just a little bit there. Just a little bit. Alright, so we got full oxygen. That should keep us going for the next 3 minutes or so. You're aluminum. Are you still attached? You are still attached. How interesting is that? Okay. Now you... Oh, we still need more nanocarbon, dude. I thought for sure we'd have enough already. Alright, save some of your tethers. You're aluminum. You're nanocarbon.
Raw material process.
But you're not good to go. I don't know, man. I don't know if we're going to make it. I don't know if we're going to be able to sneak this one in. I'm probably missing like a huge nanocarbon deposit that I could just easily send, but are you breakable? No, because you're nanocarbon. I can't cut through nanocarbon yet. We can cut through this though. Just maybe try not to hit the fuel canister simultaneously. There you go. That's what we're looking for. And we are kind of trying to expedite the process. My shift's almost over, and this is a union job. So when the clock hits 5, I legally am required to leave. You know what? You're aluminum. I'm pulling you out. You're off the case. Hello? Okay. I have experienced a bug. A large cloud just tried to swallow me up. I got a little frightened there. And I will admit, wait, you're aluminum. I will admit, now I've been turned around and I don't know what I just sliced. I don't know what I just sliced because I got scared. Here's a thought, okay? We only got 1 minute and 45 seconds left. What if, and hear me out here, what if we just put the whole ship into the processor? I don't think it's gonna work. That one was not positioned properly. But if it did, how sick would that be? I'm like, dude, okay, run back and buy as many tethers as you can as quickly as possible. I mean, if you have the processor, stop paying human beings, dude. It's an incredible piece of technology right there. So our tethers are running out. I don't think we'll have time to do this, but it'll be fun, so let's give it a try.
Wrap it up. You got about a minute left.
Wrap it up? Okay, by wrap it up, do you mean purchase a full stock of tethers for $9,000 and then extremely quickly try to drag a multi-thousand-ton cruiser into a tiny hole? Because that's exactly what's about to happen, brother. It's generating no movement. It's generating no movement. Alright, fair enough. Let's end the day. Can you just escape end the day? I don't believe it. Oh, you abandon shift? No, thank you. I can wait 20 seconds. I can wait 20 seconds. That's not a problem. Why don't you take me up here and drop me off? I bet I can make it in before my shift ends. How about that? All right, so that's Hardspace Shipbreaker. It is a one-of-a-kind game that I highly recommend. It's a lot of fun. Again, I will stress for the purposes of disclosure, I was paid to play this on stream. This is not a paid video. There will be a VOD from that stream, which is technically sponsored, but this in and of itself, I'm free. I can say whatever it is I like. And what I'm choosing to say is that Hardspace Shipbreaker is a very exciting and interesting game that I am enamored with right now. You can check it out for yourself on Steam. I'll put a link in the video description below. And of course, even if you don't want to pick it up, you can wishlist it and see when it goes on sale. Maybe 2 years from now, you'll be like, all right, that game Northernlion played looked really cool, and now it's on sale for 15 bucks, and I got no reason to say no to it, you know? Apart from that, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Subscribe if you want to see more Northernlion tries in the future. And of course, click the like button if you enjoyed the episode. I'm going to assume you enjoyed it. You spent 34 minutes and 54 seconds listening to it or watching it. Click the like button is the best way you can support me as a content creator on YouTube. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya! I got to alt tab to get my mouse back, but I'll see ya!